Hi guys, welcome back to TOEFL with Juva. In this lesson, you will get a full sample answer for TOEFL Speaking Task 1. First, I'm going to tell you what Task 1 is about, then I will give my sample answer. After that, I will show you what you need to do to get a high TOEFL speaking score. Let's get started. Task 1 is called the personal choice question. Usually, you're given two alternatives and then you have to choose a side and explain why you have this opinion. The topic is about everyday life. For example, whether it's better to spend one's free time reading or exercising, or whether it's better to spend one's vacation at home or traveling. You have 15 seconds to prepare your answer and 45 seconds to speak. That's quite challenging because that's not much time to prepare and deliver your answer. Before I give my answer, I would like to give you a few tips. During your preparation time, take a few notes. Your notes should be short and concise so that you can easily use them for your answer. If you want to know how to take notes for TOEFL speaking, have a look at my video where I explain note-taking strategies. You can find the link in the description below. In my answer that I'm going to give in a second, I will use my TOEFL speaking template. Before I took the TOEFL, I created this template and it saved my life. It helped me deliver a great answer in only 45 seconds because I had the structure of my answer and the sentence starters ready in my head before taking the test. This meant that I saved a lot of time and I used great vocabulary that helped me boost my TOEFL speaking score. If you need a TOEFL speaking template for your test, check out mine. It includes templates for all TOEFL speaking tasks, tasks 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can find the link in the description below. Let's have a look at a question. This question says, some students enjoy studying in quiet locations. Others prefer public places. Which behavior do you think is better? Explain why. So you have to say whether you think it's better to study in a quiet or public place. And you have to give reasons for your opinion. I am now going to give my answer to this question, exactly as I would do it in the TOEFL. If you want my sample answer with explanations and tips on how to get a high TOEFL speaking score, click on the link in the description below. I'm going to talk a bit faster now because this is how I would do it in the TOEFL. Let's go! In my opinion, studying in quiet is better. I feel this way for two reasons. First, I think that studying in a quiet environment helps students understand the content faster. For example, I recently prepared for a test, which I did only on my own in my room. As there were no distractions, I spent all my time focusing on my studies, so that I was done way before test day. Second, I believe that studying in silence allows students to retain more information. For instance, I once prepared for a law exam for which I had to remember an incredible number of cases, and I managed to do so. If I hadn't studied in a completely silent library, my brain wouldn't have been able to take in and remember all the things I read. I'm now going to show you how you can get a high score in TOEFL speaking. Let's have a closer look at my answer, starting with the structure I used. I started with the introduction, where I stated my opinion. I said that in my opinion, studying in quiet is better. I then used a transition from the introduction to my reasons. I said that I feel this way for 2 reasons. This showed the TOEFL examiners that I was going to give my reasons for my opinion. This will get you points because it structures your answer well. Then I talked about my 2 reasons and I gave an example for each reason. Let's check out the vocabulary I used. I used a lot of linking words that are included in my TOEFL speaking template, such as first, second, for example, and for instance, which is great because they help me structure my answer well and to signpost. I told the examiner, look, now I'm going to talk about my first reason, or now I'm going to provide an example, and so on. Also, I paraphrased the information given in the question. This means that I used different words. I used synonyms. If you paraphrase, you show the TOEFL examiners that you know a lot of different vocabulary, and this improves your TOEFL speaking score. For example, the question uses the words studying in quiet locations. I said studying in a quiet environment and studying in silence. I also used a different word for studying at one point. I said I recently prepared for a test. These are just a few examples of how you can paraphrase in TOEFL speaking. Of course, you shouldn't paraphrase everything. You should only paraphrase words that can be paraphrased easily. For example, I didn't spend time trying to think of a different word for study every time. Let's check out the last point, grammar. You should use more complex sentence structures in your answer because this way you show the TOEFL examiners that you have great language skills. This improves your TOEFL speaking score. A great way to get points for complex grammar is using if clauses because they are hard. In my answer, I said, if I hadn't studied in a completely silent library, my brain wouldn't have been able to take in and remember all the things I read. That's a complex if clause, and this if clause boosts my TOEFL speaking score. That's it. That's how you answer Task 1 in TOEFL speaking. I hope this video was helpful to you guys. If you have any questions or a video wish, comment below and I would love to see you here next time. Bye bye.